How many people you know own a Ballin organic ice cream company?
I know one person.
Well, I know one that's going to, right? I don't know a whole bunch.
With the Lord on my
It's
side.
crowd at the bottom. So Wojo is going to be our main man for when we're doing the campaign stuff, which we'll get into a little bit at the end of the day. Go ahead and get y'all doing some things. Are y'all excited about that?
Yes.
I can tell. Boom. All right. So we're going to dive into our second lesson on what?
Sales.
Sales.
Y'all, boom. So good. So here's what we're going to do. And first off, I went ahead and recorded what we did last time. So I couldn't get it fully uploaded to YouTube before I had to leave today. So it'll be on YouTube, and then I'll send out a link for folks who couldn't come, or if you want to watch it again, because you're just, it's late at night, you're having trouble sleeping, right? You got a test tomorrow, so you got to put yourself to sleep. But then we'll put this one up too. So what we're going to talk about today is kind of the components of how do you sell. Like, what is it that's needed to sell? And again, this is something for not just if you're helping us to get folks to participate in the United Way, or if you're selling your organic ice cream for your own business, or if you're selling your awesome beats and tracks to a record label or a tour promoter or whatever you're gonna sell, or if you're just selling someone on, hey, go on a date with me. These are the four components for whatever you're selling. That's what we're gonna talk about today. Next week, we're going to talk about when it comes to the kind of selling that will be like in a business or what we're doing with the United Way, 7 steps of how you deploy these 4 things. Today we're talking about 4 things. How do you sell? And then we're talking about the process of how do you deploy them. Does that make sense? Are you ready? I knew you were ready. Boom, girl. All right, so here are those things, and we'll go into a little more detail. The first is understand your value. And I'm going to put your in parentheses because it's going to be the value of you personally. Like, again, Lindsay Benelli, the most beautiful woman ever born on the face of the planet Earth, maybe with the worst taste, but I had to understand my value, me personally. For her, I had to like get, hey, I got some value. Why don't you provide some value in return and go eat some pizza with me? All right, so it could be my value, or hey, I want you to hire me, right? So it's me, or it could be the company that you work for. Like at work, I work for Regions Bank. I got to understand the value of Regions Bank and the value of what I specifically can do within Regions Bank. So it can be your company, your product, your service, or just you. All right, so understand your value, okay? Understand the needs of those who need who your value serves. All right, so what am I talking about? So this is going to be your customer.
Here you go.
A better marker.
And erase it.
Simone, you're always there on top of it. Let's see if this works.
Thank
It did
you.
not. Don't pick it up off the floor. I got you a fresh one, Simone. All right, well, now I'm already up here. I might as well make something. Nice catch. Okay,
Couldn't see anything.
so understand the needs of those your value serves, which is your customer. Okay? So you got to understand your value. You've got to understand the needs of those who your value serves. And then, hey there, sure. Did you hear that there were Rice Krispie treats? Okay. We got Slim Jims too.
Don't tell me.
Okay.
I gotta see if I checked out or logged out. Sorry about this.
That's all right. So then you've got to communicate the value.
Oh heck, I'll take a Twix.
Do it.
I'll take the risk.
There you go. It'll be worth it. Communicate your value. And then take a guess. After you understand your value, you understand the people who need your value, you communicate it, then what do you think you have to do once your customer buys into your value? What do you think would be important then? If I'm Simone, I'm like, all right, Whole Foods, we have the best ice cream. I mean, it's organic, it's all natural ingredients. Man, sustainably farmed ingredients. We give 3% back to the community. I mean, it's awesome. So, and she understands their needs of, hey, we want ice cream that is delicious, is at a price our customers can afford, and has a story that will compel our customers. So they get it, and she's communicated it. So she closed the sale. What do you think she's got to do now? What's important when you close the sale? Follow through, right?
Yes.
Think about if you bought a pizza and you were sitting on your couch. What do you want them to do with that pizza? You want to eat it? What has to happen for you to eat it?
Yeah,
Deliver it. Boom. You got to deliver, okay? You could, because here's the thing. Whatever you're selling, you're not just going to sell one time. So you're going to have to sell it again. So if you understand your customer and you know what you can give your customer and you communicate it, you sell to them, look, Mr. Customer, I've got this for you. It is awesome. Whole Foods, I got the best ice cream. They're like, yeah, I want some. Man, have 3 truckloads at these stores on the 30th. And then the 30th comes and they're like, yo, where's Simone? We wanted some ice cream. That's not good, right? You got to deliver, or else everything you said, all the integrity, everything is gone. You're not going to be able to sell them again. Okay? So you got to deliver. So let's break these down. First, understanding your value. All right? So you got to know, this seems like kind of obvious, what is my value? What do I have to sell? But it's really not. Most people don't stop to think about what is the real value of what I have. And you got to know that so you can communicate it. And your value is something special that you have, but also your ability to deliver, okay? So you don't want to go, and you might have the best ice cream, but you don't want, if you can only produce 1 truckload of it a week, then you have to understand that, because you don't want to say, I can get you 10, if you can only do 1, right? So you don't have to just understand how great your product is, but how much of it you can do, right? So I'm in the business of providing loans for companies, okay? And so I know how the loans work, but I also know kind of what kind of loans I can do, because every bank is different, and I know how long it's going to take. So I have to know all these things. I have to understand everything about my product. Because here's one thing that you never, ever want to do in sales. You don't want to you don't want to over promise and under deliver. You never want to do that. That plays into number 4, but you got to understand this or you're going to over promise. All right? You're going to over promise. And you also don't want to under promise. You don't want to sell yourself short. If you have the best option for something, you want to be able to communicate that. So you got to understand your value. And when you guys are looking for jobs, man, you got to be able to do that. You got to be able to articulate, here's why you should hire me. It's not just, hey, you guys should hire me because I have a degree. Guess what? So does everybody else lined up at the door, right? What did you do? Understand it. Make it in a format that's easily accessible, that sort of thing. Okay? Does everybody get it? Understand your value?
Mm-hmm.
All right? If you were going to apply for a job today, what would you say is your value? And you got a lot of value, so it might be hard to narrow it down. What are a couple of things? What would you say? What's your value? Why should I hire you?
I'm bilingual.
¿Con español?
Yeah, and this
Perfecto.
is a community that has both English and Spanish speakers.
Yep.
So hire me if you want
Boom!
2 for the price of 1.
Boom!
Right.
So that was great. Let's give her a round of applause. All right.
There's 11 tweets.
So
I don't care.
she brought us, that was a perfect segue to point number 2, okay? As you're understanding your value, that's going to help you, when you know what your value is, you're going to know, remember I said, those who need your value, those who need what your value serves, okay? So not everyone is going to be a customer for everybody, right? So once you understand, hey, a big part of my value is I'm bilingual. I speak Spanish. That might not be super helpful if you were like, you might not want to go and look for a job in Norway. There's not a whole lot of Spanish speakers up there. Plus it's cold, right? So when you know your value, that helps you to understand, number two, the people who need your value, right? The teacher who just came in here, the professor, what's his name? Mace. Mace said he did not want candy because he was diabetic, but then he got some anyway, so he's like, YOLO. So if I was a candy salesman, Mace would not be somebody who needs the value that I have, right? I gotta understand that. So not everybody you're not selling to everybody, right? You gotta know who needs what you got, okay? That beautiful lady, again, we'll mention her name, Lindsay Benelli, she wouldn't need the value that I had if she was already married, right? She's already got a fill. She doesn't need me. I had to find a single gal who had bad eyesight and couldn't tell what I looked like. You know, so you gotta know that. So you gotta understand your values, so understand the needs of who needs you, okay? Because a big part of selling is spending time to understand. And the more complex the selling, the more important it is. So like when we're talking to companies who might want to partner with us with the United Way, we don't just roll up and say, yo, we need some money for the United Way. You know, you want to write a check. We want to talk to them. We want to understand them and say, hey, you know, you're an important part. You're a leader in the Hall County community. What needs do you see, you know, here? What do you see? And hey, what's important to you, specifically as it comes to serving the community? What sort of legacy do you want to serve, right? So I want to understand because, hey, if I've got somebody and they are just, if there's a company and they're just like the owner of the company, he just loves puppies. He loves them so much. He likes those videos for the Humane Side, the commercials with Sarah McLachlan songs, and he's crazy about it. And that's all he wants to do, and he cares about dogs. Then he should, you know, he's going to be a good fit for the Humane Society. We're trying to end poverty. That's what we can do. So he's not really someone that is our, you know, we don't serve what he's looking for. But if we talk to somebody and we understand, hey, man, when I was young, my folks didn't have much money. We were hungry a lot, and I just remember how tough it was. Hey, guess what? One of our partner agencies is the Food Bank. They help with that, and it's awesome. Let us share how we can get plugged in, okay? And then also, like, for again, all the other stuff you do, understanding what people need. So, well, we've already done enough examples. Does everybody get this? Understanding the needs of your customer, right?
Yes.
Okay. You get a Pizza Hut. I call you Pizza Hut because that's a cool hat. Where did you get that awesome hat?
Actually, I got it from Walmart. My daddy got it for me.
Aww.
Sweet. Sorry. All right. So, understand your value, because that shows what you can do, and then it helps you, once you know what you can really offer, it helps you to know who you should go offer it to, and then you got to understand what is the specific need. I'll give you one more example, because examples just really are helpful. So, again, lending money is a big part of what I do. So there are certain kind of companies that need more money than others. So when I'm trying to call prospective customers and I'm just like, I don't have a relationship, I'm just trying to get in somewhere, I am not going to waste time calling a business that probably doesn't need me. Maybe they would need me, I don't know, but if it looks like they probably don't, it's kind of a numbers game. You gotta, as we'll learn in the next lesson, you gotta make a heck of a lot of calls to get in the door, so you gotta be effective in who you're calling. So I only wanna call on people who I feel have a high likelihood of needing me, and manufacturing companies like who make organic ice cream, it's just the best example because again we've got this budding entrepreneur right here. You manufacture something, you're going to need a lot of equipment to make it.
How do you know when you need money?
How do I know when they need money?
How do you as a business owner know when you need money?
Man, it's like this.
I thought he was about to do a rap.
You never know.
We're going to do a rap?
I thought you were gonna do a one-man play for a second.
I kind of was. I was going to do more of a monologue, but we can wrap it.
You know when you need money.
It's just
I need a banker. Would you be my hero? I'm looking at my online banking. Man, it's at zero. I ain't got money to pay my bills. Maybe I'll call Regions and talk to my boy Phil.
Ooh.
Bars.
I mean, that's-
He's just like, I just got that.
I'm only asking because like with my business, like I'm like, you know, I don't have no money. Like, you know, it's just like
Yeah.
when you're first starting off, when do you know? Like it's like I'm just still in the starting phase. So how will I know? Like I don't want to go out and then go to the bank and be like, I need money, and then like 2 months from now nobody's ordering anything, and then I owe the bank all this money that. So like, is there a moment where you're like, okay, boom, my business is budding, so I need to go to the bank, or like?
Good question. So, you know, it'd be ideal if you didn't ever have to go to a bank, right? If just what you were selling was producing enough, right? But there's going to be certain points in time. So, like, let's say you're making all these cool backpacks and jackets and denim jackets and stuff. I saw this cool article about denim people doing cool stuff with jackets. I was going to bring it, but I forgot, so it didn't do anything good. But I thought of you. So let's say you're doing it, and it's like it gets to the point where you can't do it all yourself.
That's where I am now.
All right.
She is.
So then maybe you need to hire another person.
I can't afford to pay somebody.
Okay. So then you need money. Now, there's lots of ways to get money or do things that don't involve going to a bank. Because first off, it's kind of hard to get money from a bank. So like, there's nobody that and of course I'm doing a certain thing, you know, a certain level in banking, but I'm not ever, there's never a situation where someone comes up to me and they're like, hey Phil, I have this idea or I'm starting out, can you lend me some money to fulfill my dream? Because I'd be like, man, I'm so excited for your dream. Let me give you some advice. Let me give you a cup of coffee and good luck with your dream. Because I just can't, because a bank is the cheapest source of money that there is, so a bank can take like no risk or very little risk. I mean, there is risk. Like if I give someone $20 million to expand their plant, something might go wrong, right? But I have to take very little risk because I make so little on what I give people, I can only mess up like 1 in 100 times, maybe, and stay in business. So when you need money, there's a couple things you gotta do. You know, first off, it might just take time, right? Because if you're doing things, if you're if you are in your business, what you want obviously is for you to be making a profit, right? So like if something costs you $10, you'd like to be able to sell it for, you know, a lot more than $10, let's say $30, right? So every time you do that, I mean, I wasn't a math major, but I feel like you make $12, right? I'm just kidding, it's 20.
Oh, it's cool.
You make $20, right?
Yes.
So if you keep doing that, your 20 turns to 40, you know, turns to 60, etc. So you could just keep going and save up money till you have a certain amount, right, that you could use. And because some of it is just, it's about timing, because you need to make more Jackson backpacks now, but there's only one use, so you need another person now because you got these other orders. So you know you're going to get one. You're going to get $20 from each of those things.
Right.
So you need enough money here to cover you, to pay your employee and to pay for the denim jackets and stuff. This is your money going down until to produce this stuff till you sell it, and then your money starts going back up and covering itself. So I would save up, and maybe you gotta wait a little while, right? You gotta just keep hustling a little bit till you save up enough. Or there's just certain times that you do have to borrow money, and it's like, hey, you gotta take a risk. Like, okay, let's say a couple years from now, you got like 5 people making this stuff, right? And then it's like, man, I see an opportunity where I can get a machine that can do a lot of the stuff, maybe what 3 of these people are doing. I get a machine to do it, but the machine costs $100,000. Man, but I know I'm gonna save this much every month on payroll, and I'm gonna be this much faster, so I'm gonna borrow $100,000. So there's not really like a magic point, but you wanna push it off kind of as long as you can. If you can save and self-fund, that's good, but there's gonna be some point in time if you keep growing, well, you will probably need to borrow, and then you just gotta say a little prayer, work extra hard, go make it happen, you know?
Definitely.
You know?
We can do Kickstarter.
So I don't know if I answer that, but there's not a
You
magical
did.
point in time. And it's just, you just decide, like, I wanted to buy a house. I could have kept saving for years, but I was like, well, I kind of want to buy it now. I've saved some, so I'm going to get a loan to buy the house. But it's just up to, maybe I would have felt more comfortable, hey, I want to save 2 more years so my payment's lower. You just got to weigh out the pros and cons, man. And you just want to make sure whatever you invest is going to get a return, you know. And you want to give yourself a buffer. That's one thing. Just, I know we're supposed to be talking about sales. Move in 1 second, but whatever you're doing, whatever you're planning on doing, whether it's your business, whether it's the ice cream, whether it's Nate's music empire, whatever cool stuff y'all are gonna do, who even knows? Y'all are cool. Then it's going to. If you want to do something, especially if it's like starting some sort of business. Really any major project, it will take way longer than you think, and it will cost more money than you think. That is the Phil Bonelli guarantee. Wojo, what do you think?
I agree.
See, and he's really smart. So you always have to build in a buffer. We always we're very optimistic and positive, and especially with your own business, or you wouldn't have the guts to go start a business. So you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this and this and this. Whatever you think you're gonna do, when you're making your plan, ratchet it down by like 1/3 or half, because things are harder than you think, and there's always going to be problems you can't foresee, always. So you got to be able to just roll with the punches. It's like a problem punches you in the face, like punch me again, That's how it is, man. Overcoming problems. Okay. I don't even know what this drawing is really, but hopefully it was helpful. A mountain of money going away. All right. By the way, y'all, thank you for that question. Any other random question that has to do with business or life or career or even college? I went to college a long time ago. Y'all feel free to ask. Y'all feel free to ask. Okay. So, once you understand your value that you can deliver, and once you understand the needs of your specific customer, you have to be able to communicate your value. All right? You got to communicate your value. You have to be able to know it so well that you can say it, you can share it. And here's what I want you to understand, okay? What you say doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you say. And when I say, I mean speak, I mean text, I mean say over the phone, over an email, Snapchat, whatever you say, whatever you communicate, does not matter. It matters what people hear. Okay, so that's very important to understand, because when we have something, especially something we believe in, we want to sell, we just want to talk about it, and a lot of times we're talking in the language of us. When we understand the needs of our customer, we want to talk in terms of them. Okay, when I'm going to try to get a new customer at the bank, guess who cares about me? Nobody. Nobody cares about me except for me. So I have to care about them, and I have to speak to them about how it's going to help them. It's all about them. That's what selling is. Remember, it's persuading people the value of what you have is something they want to give value for. So you got to persuade them and make them want to give value back for what you have. So it's all about their needs, right? All about their needs. So again, with the ice cream, if you want to sell to Kroger, you know, what is it that Kroger cares about, right? Kroger wants their customers to be happy. They want to sell more product. Talk about how you can bring more customers into the store, you know. Again, when we talk for the United Way, it's not about us. It's not, hey, would you do something for us? It's how can we, and this is something different because we're not selling a regular product. It's we're trying to get people to participate in charity. How can we